A lot of organizations operate under the assumption that buying top-tier servers and building robust networks creates a shield against system failure. In reality, power outages, cyber attacks, and human errors are statistical certainties that materialize over any sufficiently long timeline. When the screens inevitably go dark, leadership usually responds with a predictable, panicked directive to the IT team. Get everything back online, fast. But fast is a subjective term. To one executive, it might mean 10 minutes. To another, it might mean by the end of the day. In a high-stakes emergency, a vague target provides no actionable direction. Without a specific numerical target to aim for, recovery teams often freeze. They spend the first hour of a crisis arguing over priorities instead of executing a clear, predefined plan. If your organization hasn't calculated exactly what it loses for every minute of downtime, you aren't actually prepared for a disaster. You are just hoping one doesn't happen. To replace that panic with a proactive strategy, you have to establish two strict metrics. The first is your recovery time objective, or RTO. When a system crashes, the RTO bracket measures the maximum downtime tolerated before permanent damage. For e-commerce, offline minutes mean lost revenue, shrinking this bracket to seconds. An internal portal might sit offline all day without disrupting operations. Setting an RTO proves that not all downtime carries the same weight. It forces a company to draw a literal numerical timeline on its own survival. But getting the servers back online is only half the equation. You also have to account for the historical information wiped out in the crash, which brings us to the recovery point objective, or RPO. Looking backward, RPO measures the historical data you can afford to lose without destroying operations. A bank cannot lose a single transaction, making their RPO exactly zero. A media company might tolerate losing minutes of logs without severe penalties. Permanently losing data destroys institutional trust far faster than a temporary system outage. Ignoring RPO is a fatal oversight. Knowing these two acronyms won't help you if your leadership team just pulls target numbers out of thin air to sound impressive. The mandatory first step of actual preparedness requires sitting down with the business side and calculating the exact financial loss incurred for every single hour the system is dark. This visualization shows why that math is non-negotiable. Those precise financial calculations directly dictate your architectural blueprints and exactly how much capital you must spend on backups right now to keep the scale balanced. Cutting corners to save money on infrastructure during the planning phase is a trap. Those cheap choices guarantee a massive financial hemorrhage during a real crisis. Proactive investment, driven entirely by hard math rather than corporate wishful thinking, separates resilient companies from the ones that collapse under pressure. But even with heavy investment, unverified documentation creates a dangerous illusion of safety. A disaster recovery plan that sits in a binder and has never been physically tested is a massive liability. Because a paper plan is a static document trying to manage a dynamic system, resilient organizations translate their manual checklists into fully automated scripts. This removes the variable of human panic from the sequence, ensuring the entire recovery executes at machine speed. Operational chaos usually stems from a total lack of internal information. When teams don't know who is in charge or what the current status is, even the best technology remains idle while the downtime clock ticks. To solve this, you need an ironclad communication protocol. You must dictate exactly who informs whom and exactly when those updates happen. True disaster preparedness isn't about trying to build unbreakable servers. It is about precisely calculating your recovery time and your recovery point so that when the inevitable catastrophe strikes, you handle it like a routine operation.